Okay, we got this one right here by Mike G. It's a breakdown of the shooting. All right, let's watch.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Usually I do funny reacts videos to mostly Chinese military. Nothing like making fun of the Chinese. Today is different because I want to do a reacts, but I'm also going to talk about this Charlie Kirk situation where yesterday at 12:20, 30 minutes down the road, Charlie Kirk was killed in front of 3,000 people and millions more because all the cell phone video, all the spectator video was widely disseminated across the internet very fast.
Yeah.
That's what makes this different. This wasn't just a shooting in the back streets of, name the inner city. This wasn't just an assassination that you read about on the news. This was very real because it was televised, sent over every social media platform, everywhere.
But wait, it wasn't televised though, right? Like they weren't streaming it. It's just people basically. People had the footage. It wasn't like
I've studied
they
the
didn't
video,
live stream it.
and I've also seen the enormous amount of traffic coming out of most of the social media
They
platforms.
did?
And seen the discontent.
See, what I want to know, this is what I want to know, right? Because all of the footage of the shooting are from low kind of like phones or whatever, like being zoomed in. They gotta have like a high res one, right? Because they were shooting it with the intent to upload to YouTube, right? So they must have like clear like 4K footage of it, right?
If I was a foreign adversary, well, you better believe I would be pumping resources into amplifying the noise. So here's what we know. At 12:20, during a speaking engagement on the college campus of the University of Utah, Charlie Kirk had just answered his first question, and it happened to be on mass shootings, when he ended with the word violence, and he put down the microphone, or he put it below him, holding it in his hand from his mouth, sat back and said,
It seems like, you know, that's a good point. It seems a little weird that like they were able to actually, like, it seems weird that the timing was that good. It might have been coincidence though. It's 100% possible it's coincidence. Like if you were to assume that the shooter was actually like fairly decent and they knew to like shoot specifically like when he wasn't moving as much, he was in a more relaxed state, then that makes sense. But it's just like the topic was total coincidence. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, you think he was given the signal, Swift guy? See, that's what I was thinking. Is like what are the odds of both? Like what are the odds like that there was a signal given because of the timing being really really good, right? But again, there is a possibility that it's just a crazy coincidence, right?
in underneath his typical pop-up tent. I mean, if you've seen his YouTube channel, that's typically how he does it. He goes to an outdoor venue and says, "Prove me wrong." And he has mostly polite conversations, respectful conversations. He has been recorded saying the reason he does that is because when we stop talking to each other, when we stop identifying each other as fellow human beings, well, that's when violence happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ironic because as soon as he settled in, he was hit with what I believe was a 30 cal at a minimum round. Now, there's a lot of speculation here. Let me go over the technical details. And I did a react that was live when we heard about what had happened. At least it had not been widely disseminated that he was.
You want to know something about the shot too? Is allegedly they found extra ammo that wasn't used, which is like, it's a little weird. Like you're using like a bolt action. You're gonna like bolt again to like take a second shot. I guess. But like, anyway, they found ammo in the area, apparently, that had trans ideology stuff like written on it, right? And so like, was it like a trans ideology thing, or is that what they want you to think it was? You know? Because I'm just being real. Like, if I was, right, let's say I was some kind of government, right, and I wanted to kill Charlie Kirk, and I didn't want it to like come back on me, I would like probably blame something like that, right? Yeah, cultural sayings. Yeah. Because I know that's how I would do it, right? Like, if you think about it, like, how would you do something like this and get away with it? Like, if you wanted to like you want to blame somebody, right? And they had the decoys too. See, the weird thing is the decoys, right? So if the person was, yeah, it's assuming too much according to Occam's razor. Well, what about the decoy? Because it's kind of weird, because what happened was, okay, guys, this is a little bit conspiracy, okay, guys, but remember the old man that we saw, and everybody, like, they grabbed him and everyone thought that was the shooter? Apparently that guy was looking intentionally suspicious, and then he started shouting like weird shit like after they grabbed him. He was saying like, shoot me, just shoot me, guys, just shoot me. And he was like saying like weird shit like when they grabbed him. Like, it's fully possible that like he's just crazy. All right, I mean, that is possible. He's just psycho, right? But like, him doing that, and like basically all of these people, right? Like the person that was like cheering in the crowd, and then the old man like acting crazy. All of this stuff would be enough time to throw enough confusion into the mix that people would not be looking around other places. Because your first thought would be, there's a threat right here in front of me that I can see. Right? So you would immediately look at that guy, and that's what they did, is they immediately looked at that guy, took him into custody, and then he was saying shit like, shoot me, like I shoot me. And like, why would you say that, right? And then they take him and they let him go after, because they found out like it wasn't him. But like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, why would you act super sus like that for like no reason? Right? Other than like, because that's what you would do, right? You would put a person to distract for the actual shooter to exfil. Right? Also, thank you. Oh my God. Yo, Billy Uppercut, thank you so much for 25 gift subs. Holy shit, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the generosity. Thank you. Thank you, Iron Tiger, for the bits as well. That's George Zinn. He's a nut. He always does stuff like that. He always does stuff like that. He's always done that. Iron Tiger, that guy. The leftists immediately started cover for the actual shooter. There's a high look like multiple crazies banded together to take action. And so that's the thought. Like, so I'm not even saying like, is this doesn't even have to be like a foreign government level op, right? Like, this could be like a bunch of accomplices in the crowd. Right. And the thing is, there's a lot of coincidences in terms of like people posting like, shit's gonna happen today. Like, there are a bunch of people that did that. And like, were they just being psycho? Like, were they just being schizo and being like fucking assholes? Or like, were they actually a part of it? Or is that a part of the smoke screen too, right? Like, did a bunch of people online do all of this sus activity? Like, there's so much sus activities. Like, there's the person who was like, not gonna be a good day for Charlie Kirk tomorrow, like teehee, right? Like, which that could be like, there's other ways you could, it's ambiguous, right? And there's another ambiguous thing where there's a person who made a song on SoundCloud called was it Charlie Kirk Dead at 31? There was a person that made a song like that on SoundCloud like this month. I think it was this month. It was recent. It was like within the last year that they made this song. And why would they have all that? Like, and like, I get that like they're unhinged and stuff, but like, it almost seems like there's too much of a smokescreen. It's just weird. And yeah, they lived in Utah. That's right. The person who wrote that song lives in Utah. It's like, there's so many coincidences. It's so weird. It's like, it just seems like there's too much like smokescreen for it to just be like, like a one-off thing. And I mean, it is possible it's a one-off thing, and all of this is coincidence. It's just like, magically a coincidence that all of this shit happened, right? Considering all the people celebrating online, it wouldn't surprise me if random people there just acted as a decoy on a whim. Yeah.
Passed.
That's true too.
And I said, based on what I saw, the chances of him surviving were slim to none. And that's for several reasons. If you haven't watched the video, I would encourage you not to watch the video because it is traumatic. It is a man losing his life in front of his family, by the way.
That's
his
so
wife
fucked up, man.
And family, his children, were there present. And I believe that when he was hit, he was gone. I speculated about this in the reacts, and I said, look, there are two ways that physiologically your body's going to respond to significant trauma from a round. One, you're not hitting anything vital and you continue to fight. Now, you could potentially bleed, but you have the ability, for example, to move your hands, to move your body. He had no ability to do any of that.
He fucking
because
dropped.
What I believe happened is, there's speculation that he was wearing body armor. He wasn't wearing body armor. Unless he was wearing a very low-vis, close-to-skin, thin, soft vest.
Which that wouldn't stop that kind of a round anyway. That'd be like basically nothing against a round like that. It would be basically nothing, and it wouldn't deflect. It would just be basically like nothing happened. It'd be like paper essentially.
It is not apparent in any video that I've seen with his t-shirt.
Those kind of really flexible, like thin armors, like usually only protect against like really small stuff. Like you're talking like 22 LR, like 9mm, like 45, like this kind of smaller stuff.
He's wearing any.
It's not really going to do anything against anything
He's
high velocity.
Surrounded by his protection detail, my bodyguards, who have been with him, by the way, for many years. There is a video which I've
even 5'7" would go through that.
Looked at in detail, and I can't show it here because it'll be immediately suppressed. But I will likely do it on my Patreon, so you guys can follow my patreon.com/Mike Glover down below, where his shirt moves and it goes up, and there's speculation that he's hit in the chest. The bullet bounces off.
The SoundCloud guy lives in Utah and has hunting experience. Plus, they see him a bit fluid. Oh, yes. There is. They are confirmed to be LGBTQ, whatever the hell, all the letters. They are confirmed to be like that, and they do have hunting experience. In fact, didn't they have hunting experience with like a similar rifle, like a very similar rifle, from what I heard? No, not the shooter. The SoundCloud person that made the song. They made a song called Charlie Kirk, Dead at 31, basically.
And then ricochets and hits
so
him
many
in the
coincidences,
neck.
Yeah.
That's not how it works, guys. Number one, a bullet doesn't technically ricochet off of a plate or a soft vest. If it's a high-powered rifle, which it was, the FBI reported this morning they found the high-powered bolt-action rifle, that's what they described it as, in the woods near the college, near where the suspect fled. We'll get into that as well.
Did they find did they find like the bullet fragment or anything like that? Like the actual bullet, like where it went? Did they find that? You don't know. The crazy thing though is like if you actually watch like the footage, the scene was not secured at all. Like when that thing happened, somebody totally could have taken it. Like somebody totally could have like exfilled the bullet out of there, because like it wasn't very the crime scene wasn't contained very well.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a guy that literally walked up and took some hats off of the desk. The desk that Charlie Kirk was sitting at had MAGA hats on it, and someone literally walked up and took a bunch of them, like stole a bunch of them, like in the middle of like this happening. So it's kind of like there was plenty of room for people to fuck up the evidence there.
Round hits a plate, a ceramic ballistic plate that's meant to stop rifle rounds. The bullet will basically dissipate all its energy, and it will shroon out and stop on the plate and typically fall down. I mean, I know this because I've never been hit in the chest plates, but I've had teammates hit in the chest plates even with 7.62 by 54, which is PKM ammo from a machine gun. Mm-hmm. One of my buddies, Mark, was shot point blank range with a AK round, went through his gun. We suspect, obviously, it's an AP round, an armor piercing round, because it went through his rifle, went through a magazine on his carrier, and then hit the plate.
Holy
now, obviously,
fuck.
the obstacles in between it slowed it down, but when a round hits the plate, it flattens, and usually goes down. And you can typically find the rounds captured in the clothing.
Mm-hmm.
It is not likely. It is actually impossible for a round to hit, ricochet, and go up to create that opening wound. What you saw is the turbulence that's created from a round in the air when it impacts anything. In this case,
it'll
Charlie
spin.
Kirk's neck.
It'll spin,
Now,
basically.
What you don't really see is, because you get the impression from looking squared up on Charlie, that somehow the round just hits him in the neck directly head on. So it's like here, and it potentially is going to go through and through. And it's like a grazing wound, but it hits his carotid.
Dude, is it just me? But like every time he touches his neck, it fucking freaks me out now. Like anytime I like look at like a neck now, it freaks me out. Like it's like,
which it for sure did.
It's uncomfortable.
That's not the case, guys. Based on the trajectory lined out from where the proposed shooter was videotaped, shot, and angled down towards the tent, he was hit from the left side. So that round went in the left side, direct shot, created the turbulence, which moved his shirt. And that's how it works, guys. I mean, this round is traveling at a minimum of 2,700 feet per second.
Yeah.
And a 30 cal round going from 2,700 feet per second to instantaneously stopping is going to create that turbulence, which is the air that you see moving his shirt.
Yeah.
And that round entered his neck, compromised his carotid, and then entered his upper cervical, his neck, his spine, which is why he clenched up and he was gone. Now, there is a chance that he was still alive. If they stopped the bleed, which I saw the videos also when he went on the ground, there were members of his protection detail that are likely trained in stop the bleed that tried to grab and stop the bleed, but when they transported him and they started moving him, he was still bleeding. Now, they pushed him into the car that they had already pre-staged. I mean, this happened.
Do you think they shouldn't have moved him? What did you guys think? Do you guys think they should just like left him on the ground and then just fucking stuffed the wound with you know, like they had to move him? No, it was over. He was gone already. Quick clot. Yeah. The cotton, it's like a band. It's like a gauze that basically it's a gauze that has like a medicine on it. Basically, he was already brain dead. He was dead either way. Yeah, I know. When I saw the video, guys, I was like, dude, there's no way.
I know you don't give kudos to a protection detail that's private, that's working for a private citizen.
I was hoping though. I was hoping. I was praying, man, that like that you'd be able to do something about it, because it's like everybody was like, dude, and like there was a lot of like copium basically that like we all saw it, because I was in Discord when it happened, and we all saw it happen, and we were like, yeah, but like medical technology is like so good, like maybe they can do something. Like everybody was hoping, dude. Everybody was hoping and coping, dude. Like, yeah.
But they did a really good job, despite the already tragic circumstances of likely him being deceased. They did a really good job. There wasn't a lot of chaos. They immediately got on top of him. They immediately rendered aid, and they immediately moved him to the vehicle in a matter of seconds. As they moved him to the vehicle, they put him in, and they transported him likely to the local hospital.
See, but the thing is, though, is like if they moved him, right? And you know, again, like I don't know if I'm just like this is just copium, right? But like if they didn't move him and then they gauzed him immediately there and left him there instead of like him being in the back of a car, like kind of bouncing around in the back of a car without like anything, like I don't know.
Area. He was already gone. That round 30 cal, which I'm saying it's 30 cal because of the size of the entry wound. Now, there's speculation that it was an exit wound. It's not an exit wound. That is not an exit wound. That is an entry wound. That entry wound hole is massive, enough to sever the carotid artery, which I have to remind you, if you don't know, it's a highway for blood to the brain and body.
Ugh.
When compromised completely, the chances of survival are almost nil, almost nothing. The reason being is you could stop the initial bleed, but that compromised amount of blood that poured out of him
it can't
is
go
now
anywhere.
no longer providing blood to the brain and to the body.
True. Yeah.
And to fix that requires surgical intervention. No amount of pressure is going to stop that bleed. It requires surgical intervention.
Yeah, because like if you lose blood to like an arm or a leg, like it's fine, right? Like you're not gonna die from that. Like, you know, obviously it's like really bad, right? But it's not like you can compromise like an arm or a leg, but your head is like that's it, right? You can't compromise your head at all. Iron Tiger, thank you so much for the bits. There are radical groups at UVU. Was this plotted? Likely. If we hear the names Revolutionary Student Union or Brown Berets were involved, don't be surprised. They've been fomenting violence for decades, and our last two governors know it and ignore it.
So meaning...
So you know a lot about that area, huh, Iron Tiger?
You put your hands on it, it's still bleeding internally, and he's bleeding. It's like the aortic arch. He's bleeding profusely inside, and there's no way.
Neo says you can still die from an arterial leg or arm wound if you don't apply a tourniquet. Yes, but then like what I mean is like you could do whatever it takes, basically. Like you can stuff the fuck out of it, right? And like completely, like for instance, like you can completely stop the blood flow to like a leg and be okay. That's what I mean, right? Like you could just say like, you know, this is fucked, but like, you know, we can still save his life. Like we're just like stuff the like the leg wound, like fuck the leg, right, at that point, right? But with the head, you can't do that, right? It's over basically.
To manage that. Now, if it was nicked, slightly compromised, there's obviously a chance. But in this case, based on the position and posture of his physical body, where you see his head go back and his hands clench up, he has no ability to move his body because the connection of wiring in his brain through his nervous system into his physical body is no longer there. And that is a sign that he was likely at least brain dead and killed, even though his body was still fighting for life, because he still had blood likely in his system and his heart might have still been beating. But by the time they transported him, it is in my opinion that he likely died in the vehicle or he died on the way.
God, man, deliver us from hatred, God. Holy fuck. I'm so mad.
To getting into the hospital. But they didn't get him in and stabilize him, and then he passed away. Again, he likely sealed his fate when he was hit and struck by the assassin's bullet right out the gate. And I wanted to be optimistic about any part of this, but I also want to tell you the truth.
Dude, you want to know what's fucked up too? Is like we just watched Charlie Kirk like a couple weeks ago, right? We watched like one of his videos, maybe like a month ago, right? But I watched Charlie Kirk off stream too, like kind of in my own time. And it was always like, Yeah, there will always be Charlie Kirk content. There'll be like some debate or something. Like he's gonna go to some school. I'll always have something to watch. Like yeah, if I need to like um need to go do something, cook some food, take a shower, go to sleep, I can like watch one. I always could turn on like a Charlie Kirk video, right? That's not the case anymore. That's fucking. Oh my god, dude! It's
When you hear the round, there's a distinct. Now, it can be deceiving depending on where you're at and what type of microphone is receiving that report. It does sound, in my opinion, to be suppressed. Now, there's a lot of confusion online, and I'm just going to clarify this. Guys, suppressors do not silence guns. It is a urban myth by design meant to create fear that somehow this tactic is being utilized by bad guys, by criminals, by assassins, and that's why it needs to be banned, which is the most ridiculous argument out of all. I mean, all of it's ridiculous, but one of the most ridiculous arguments for why we should ban a piece of material that goes on the end of a weapon system that reduces the overall decibel range, that makes it more convenient for the shooter to not be deaf, more convenient for a good guy protecting his family from a bad guy, and be able to not have ear protection or be deaf. Those are the options. And it reduces overall gas expending everywhere, and there's muzzle flash considerations as well, which aren't great because you're still going to get a flash report through most cans. A supersonic round through any can will have that type of sound. Now, based on the fact that it was 200 yards away and you hear that, it's about 50-50 for me whether or not it was suppressed or not. Because if the shooter was on the rooftop, which there's video of him belly flat, and he takes a 200-yard shot and you're down range and you're going to hear that decibel range, what we heard on the microphone. So it could have been suppressed, could have not been suppressed. For sure, though, in my opinion, a 30 cal at a minimum. It could have been a hunting rifle, could have been a 30-06, still 30 cal, but it's likely 308, which is 7.62 millimeters by 51 millimeters. Mm-hmm. 308 is just the U.S. version of the measurement, measured in inches, 0.308 inches, which is about this big. And a lot of people have said, well, this guy's a sniper. Let's get into that. So there's a couple considerations here for what qualifies as this guy being a professional, being trained. And for me, it has nothing to do with people's general ability to shoot a high-powered rifle with an optic and hit their intended target. For one, I don't believe the neck was the intended target. I believe the shooter was going for the head, and he landed the round low. You could speculate that he wasn't accounting for his hold. My speculation is that he flinched and likely dumped the round lower than he intended to.
Isn't the neck where you would shoot though? If you wanted to hit a critical point and you were anticipating movement, wouldn't the neck be better? If you were a good shot, I mean. Too small a target? I guess that's true. Chess wouldn't guarantee it though. I mean, I guess if you were that good in the first place, then I guess you could guarantee it.
Or he had a awkward position and didn't have the shot that he wanted, so he just took it as quickly as possible, snatched the round, and it indexed low. Why would I say that? Well, for sure, the shooter wasn't going for the highest statistical probability.
Thanks, Dark,
meaning he wasn't going for the
you.
chest. he wanted to send one round and take Charlie Kirk's life.
Yeah. Because the head moves more than the neck does, doesn't it? As far as like on a moving target, right? Like if you had to anticipate movements on the target, the neck moves less than the head. So the neck would be a more consistent kill shot if you were only taking one shot, right?
If you believe he had body armor, soft armor, then you would go for the head. You would not.
The chest moves even less than the head. Yeah, but then if you fire for the chest, then you would have to make a bunch of assumptions that, like, I guess he didn't have some crazy armor that like would have like helped with it, and also getting, it's not a guaranteed, like it isn't an immediate like guaranteed visible kill shot, right?
Deliberately go for the neck. The head, which is in front of obviously everything that's the central nervous system, is mostly brain, followed by your nose. Let's start at the bridge down. But any round in any impact at any angle would likely penetrate the face or the head and then take out the brain stem and then shut the person down. It would be instant death. So I believe he went for the head, he pulled his shot, and dropped it into the neck. Now, what we do know is technically this shooter likely had the skill set to understand how to plan an operation, how to recon or scout an operation, and how to execute it, which includes infill, actions on, and exfil. And I'll break that down for you, which makes me lean towards more that they're either
Headshot has more graphic optics. A headshot sends more graphic message. I don't know. I think that like I seen the JFK thing. I feel like the optics of this is like even worse, like personally. And I don't know if that's just because like, you know, I know Charlie and the JFK thing's like old, but like the way that the blood interacted because of the neck shot was way more like disturbing, I think.
a veteran, former mill, GWAT vet, and have some type of experience with training. Because training would not be enough. Training would not be enough to complete this entire operation. What you do see when you have training without the experience, you get guys in Butler, Pennsylvania, where he's going for broke. He's going into a circumstance where he's setting himself up. He's taking the shot, but he knows in desperation he's likely going to die. This guy's intent was not to commit suicide, was not to be taken out by the cops.
Yeah.
He infiltrated undetected, apparently by the description of dispatch, a helmet, black uniform, ski mask, and jeans with a rifle. That rifle was likely bagged out. He did not leave a shell casing behind. Is it the rifle that doesn't leave shell casings behind? It's not. There was a bolt action gun found by the FBI that was deemed a high-powered rifle, and they designated the type of cycle of operation as bolt.
Yeah.
Meaning, to chamber around, you push the bolt forward, you unlatch, push the bolt forward, which chambers the
would
round,
stay,
which is
basically
the round itself.
Basically, the round would stay. Basically, what's the word? The casing would stay. Basically, like you would, like they could take, if they were confident in their like single shot, which is like you would be confident in a single shot if you were going to use like that kind of a gun, because if you wanted a follow up, you would get like a semi, right? Anyway, them being confident in a single shot, basically they fire the shot and then they can immediately like start exfilling with with it inside of the gun still. They don't have to eject it, basically, right? So then it wouldn't leave a casing behind because the casing would still be inside of the gun. Yeah.
The primer and the cartridge is sitting on the front of the bolt face.
Bolts are more accurate,
Locked
yeah,
in-
because there's less moving parts, right? Yeah.
Into position via a lug. You lock.
Dude, you know that that rifle is like the same one I used for airsoft, man. That rifle is it the same one? It look my airsoft like sniper looks exactly like that gun.
It into the barrel, the back of the barrel, which is known as the breech, and then you lock the gun down. You lock the bolt gun down. This creates a locked chamber that creates consistent chamber pressures, allowing the round to exit accurately or consistently. When he unlatches the bolt and pulls it to the rear, it's going to eject and extract the spent casing. The bullet or projectile is my belief, it would be 7.62 by 51 or 308, would be gone because of the propellant, the gunpowder being launching the round or projectile out of the barrel because the primer was striked. Just reverse engineering it for you. When he pulls back on that bolt, it extracts, ejects,
and puts another one in.
And then he has to physically capture the round with his hand or look down, pick up that round, and move out.
Aren't there bags you can put? Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there bags you can put on like the right side that like catch it? There are things you can do like that, right? I'm pretty sure.
You can get away with taking a shot knowing you potentially would be taken out because you haven't studied or had a plan for the entire operation. But if you have an experience, then you're going to get through the entire operation and do all of the parameters of it successfully. You're going to scout the location. You're going to infiltrate a vehicle on foot. You're going to set up your position. You're going to take the shot and actions on, and then you're going to exfil. And that what.
Please catch this fuck alive. I don't want them to kill them like right away. I want them to catch this one. I want alive.
That's what leads me more likely to believe that he has training and experience, meaning a profile that fits not a professional, not an actual sniper, but somebody who has some form of experience in operations planning, in understanding warfare, military or police operations, etc. He could be a civilian who just studied it and trained with it. It is very easy with variable magnification and a zeroed rifle, any rifle nowadays, to take that shot. The difference is it is more difficult to do something like that under pressure of being compromised, killed, captured, whatever it might be. Everybody says, well, that's an easy shot. Well, it is an easy shot. But I've trained plenty of people who...
But shooting is not the shooting skill is not the entire thing, basically. Like, there's other skills that you need to like do that kind of thing. It's just one of the skills, and like you can, if you're like kind of a home, you're like one of the you're kind of like a range person. You like going to the range, like you can train up like your shooting skill and like your ability to like get target on paper and stuff like that. Like you can train that really, really well, but that's completely different from like running courses, shooting from cover, like learning how to maneuver with the gun. Like those are all like kind of different skills.
Are taking easy shots all day long, and then we add a little bit of stress, a little physical duress, elevating the heart rate, cortisol, adrenaline, scoreable targets, peer pressure, whatever it is, competition, then they fall apart. So to be able to take that shot under pressure makes me believe that he has some form of experience and training. To give you an understanding a little bit about the capability of a 308 round. From my personal experience, I went to sniper school at least for 3/4 of the course with a 308. A Remington SWS sniper weapon system, which was essentially a long-action Remington 700. A bolt-action M24 rifle, a hunting rifle. Now, it had a free-floating barrel. It had a fiberglass stock. It was allegedly accurized. Depending on the gun you pulled, the round count you had, the barrel life, etc., you would find a gun that was 2 minutes, meaning shooting a 2-inch group, sustaining a 2-inch group at 100 yards with 308, to a 1-minute gun, capable of holding a stack of 308 rounds inside of a 1-inch by 1-inch pasty at 100 yards. So let's just say it's a 1-minute gun. If it's a 1-minute gun, which most civilian rifles advertise to be that. I have a SIG 6.5 Creedmoor. It's called a SIG Cross. That rifle out of the box is a sub-minute gun. I could stack rounds on top of each other with a good optic, flat on my belly, in a good stable position all day long. All day long. 10, 20 years ago, when I was growing up as a sniper, it was hard to find a rifle like that. It was expensive if you wanted to have a rifle like that. Some of the best rifles I ever saw were variants like the M40A1 that the Marine Corps snipers used, built by Charlie from JSOC, one of the old JSOC armors. That rifle was likely a civilian variant and had variable magnification. When I went to sniper school with an M24, generally speaking, anything under 500 meters, because we did everything in meters, was an easy all-day shot. Even back then with a 10-power scope. We used a Leupold 10-power M3 Alpha scope that was minutes of angle in the BDC, in the units of measure. The bullet drop compensator on top, moving your elevation. We've since gone to, in my career field, over the course of 10 years, evolving the sniper game. We've since gone to mil radian for the bullet drop compensation, so mils, and typically at a minimum 21 power for variable magnification, meaning you could dial it out to all the way out, which is typically 3 at a minimum, all the way in to 21 power. At 200 yards.
Yeah, it's huge, 21.
With a 21 power scope, you would be able to basically focus in on Charlie Kirk's face at that distance. So at a round leaving the barrel, now again, this is 308 Winchester. It's Aquila 150 grain full metal jacket. There are a lot better rounds. But at 200 yards, the velocity is 2,200 feet per second, screaming. It exited the barrel at 2,700 feet per second. The deviation from a 100-yard zero, where obviously it's point of aim, point of impact, at 200 yards, if he didn't change his elevation with his reticle.
Oh, I see what he's trying to say.
He didn't dial the dope.
He's trying to say that like it matches up. Like if he tried to do a headshot, it's like minus like 4.2 inches. So like the drop would have like hit the neck.
With his bullet drop compensator, the deviation would be 4 inches. I wouldn't call that nominal. I wouldn't call that a minor deviation. That is a hold. So if the shooter was holding down his reticle on Charlie Kirk's head and he sent a round without deviating his bullet drop compensation or holding for the round with a reticle, like a Christmas tree reticle, which I hate the term, but H59.
Basically, like accounting for the little bit of bullet drop by like having a reticle that has like multiple points, where you can actually account for it.
37 Tremor 2, Tremor 3 reticle that has
like
all
that.
the
Yeah,
holds
like that.
in the bottom half of the reticle, including wind holds for deviation left and right, he would be about 4.2 inches low, generally speaking. Meaning if he was aiming here, he potentially could have dropped the round into his neck. So I think he was going for the head. He didn't compensate for his hold, which again speaks to me that he's not a professional sniper, which has been put out a lot, but he does likely have training. He does likely have some form of experience. And again, that experience doesn't have to be mil LEO. It could be he went to a training course and he gained experience through that training course.
Yo, but what if we said, what if we went like full tinfoil though, and we went like, yeah, we went full Elsai Kongru here? What if that's what they want you to think? What if they're actually super pro and they aim specifically for the neck just to like fuck with everybody? Like, okay, if you were gonna say like this was like a foreign country, like whichever one you pick, right? Wouldn't you want to throw them off as much as possible by doing like a crazy shot? Too risky, you think? I don't know, but like if you were, guys, if you were running an op like into another country and your whole thing was like to assassinate somebody, like a high profile target, like wouldn't you get like a person that was insane?
He went to a small unit tactics course. He's learned somewhere how to infiltrate, he's learned somewhere how to conduct an operation under stress in some form. The FBI has reported that
the kill is the primary focus. Well, I mean, would that be okay? Would the kill be the primary focus if like you were a foreign entity? Because if you're a foreign entity, being not caught would be the primary focus, right? That would be like more important than actually landing the kill, right?
This guy was seen coming into the area.
Not being compromised would be more important.
Walking into the building with a rifle. Walking up the stairwell. Now video confirms from a bystander that he was on the rooftop.
I guess that's true. They could just deny involvement. That's true. They could just say like yeah, like fuck this guy, like you know, he fucked up or whatever, and then just like say like, yeah, we don't know him. Yeah,
Belly
that's true.
flat, and
That's
then after
true.
the shot, they see him moving across. X-filled.
Plus, they probably would have set up a cover story anyway. Ahead of time, they would have had like a cover story that like made sense, like that he was some kind of radical or whatever, like from, you know, some sort of radical that fit the usual suspects, you know.
The stairwell. This is all reported by the FBI, and that he moved off site on foot into a neighborhood. They've cased the neighborhood. They've talked to everybody with a camera, and allegedly they said it this morning, they have a video of him, and they're trying to get it technically analyzed so they could do more visual recognition. They found the rifle in the wood line with a palm print, multiple fingerprints.
Iron Tiger, thank you so much for the bits. Gregory Lucero is the leader of the Revolutionary Student Union. I'd like to know where he was when it happened. You know him? He's a dangerous nut. What the hell?
Tossed in the woods.
So what does this? So you're saying that this school, Iron Tiger, has a big commie, like a huge commie, what do you call it, group there?
That
Big
to
commie
me,
influence?
in several ways,
Yes,
points to
Iron
the
Tiger
fact
says
that
yes.
he likely wasn't a professional, meaning he wasn't a sniper. But we'll find out. The biggest mistake I think the FBI is making right now is they were asked, why haven't they released it to the public? And they said, well, we want to technically analyze it, and if we can't get it assessed, if we can't get a clearer picture, then we will release the image to the public. Why would you not release that image now to the public? Because every second, every minute that goes by, he potentially is getting further away.
So I mean, the one reason you wouldn't release any information to the public is if you already, because they might have information that they know Like, say they're on to somebody and they don't want to spook them, right? That could be a reason, right? But um yeah, so it's like choosing when to release the info is kind of important for them.
And for some reason, post this event, when they said they had 2 alleged suspects that were person of interest, and then they...
What I mean by spook, it's a manhunt. He's already spooked. What I mean by spooked is that they're on to him, that they're on to the person, like that spooks, that like spook them even harder, basically.
Later released them. There were no news reports on the shooter still on the loose.
But I kind of agree. I kind of agree in this case that like they could have done more to lock the area down, right? Like they didn't lock anything down, right? And for such a heinous crime, they didn't lock anything down.
In fact, the opposite. The chief of police for UVU, actually, I think it was the state.
Like I believe, like correct me if I'm wrong, there was an airport that was like right next to where this happened, like within close range, and that like they didn't like do anything like stop air traffic or anything like that.
Who's leading the investigation for Utah State Patrol said, we're not concerned because it looks like he came in, he was a lone shooter, and he took out 1 guy. You should be concerned. There's an assassin who murdered the most impressionable, conservative, not right-wing extremist, conservative voice of reason and logic.
Yeah, there was some weird stuff with an airplane, and I don't know like how true this is, but allegedly, and again, like there's a lot of information kind of just like floating out there of like people like noticing things. And it's kind of hard to tell what's true or relevant, right? So I'm just telling you what I saw, right? Rumor has it, again, allegedly, that there was a plane that took off like right after this happened. Well, not like immediately after, but like I think 30 minutes after. That plane took off and then went radio off, basically. As in like they went up into the air and they turned off their tracker for like a little bit and then they turned back on like later.
Mother Teresa of the conservative movement assassinated him, and you're not concerned for the safety of the public? Maybe you should be concerned. Because if that person's desperate, what else are they going to do? On 9/11, what else are they capable of? Also, the University of Utah Police Department was notified of this event in advance, obviously. The chief of police acknowledged the failing of their department to provide the appropriate resources given the circumstances. I appreciate his perspective, his honesty, and his willingness to eat this, because you're right, it is your fault. And it is your officers' faults. That you have 6 officers dedicated with no other resources, by the way. The public has pointed out on social media there was no EMTs, no ambulance.
The thing that kind of weirds me out about this whole thing, guys, we live in 2025. You telling me like they're worried about like conflict or some kind of like assassination attempt that they don't have a person that uses drones? Because I could do that. Like literally, like they could have hired me to do it. To like put up a drone and like I would just fly the drone around and just like look for people on roofs. Like how is that? How did that not happen? Like I don't understand. Like that would solve so many problems, right? That would have solved the Trump thing. That would have solved this. Like it's just confusing.
Once it's staged, you have a county fair with 100 people, and you'll have an ambulance on site, a fire engine on site. There was none of that. There were 3,000 plus people on site, and they had 6 officers. Most of them near co-located with Kirk's element, where they thought the potential risk would happen, but nobody covering the high ground.
The obvious high ground too, right?
This will change American history forever. I told the audience last night on Survival Dispatch, as this pendulum swings, that it's going to swing back in the opposite direction. And it's going to move faster, harder, and more violent.
No.
And that's a fear of mine. We should retain the peace and be who, if you're a libertarian or conservative, who you are. Not fringe maniac, a radical inciting violence on innocent people, but a voice of reason, which was what Charlie Kirk was, which is why I think the pendulum will swing. Who's going to step up and replace Charlie Kirk? Like Khalid Muhammad said yesterday on Survival Dispatch, calling me out because I said somebody's got to step up. And the answer, he was right. Nobody's going to step up because nobody can replace Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, that's true.
Where do you go from here?
That is true, is that Charlie Kirk is, as much as I hate that this is the case, but Charlie Kirk is completely irreplaceable. Like in terms of, he had like the perfect stats for his position, and replacing him is going to be like really, really hard. And then they're not even going to be close to as good.
If you're a young person who valued what Turning Point was doing in the country, if you're one of the 3,000 people who were there to support Turning Point and Charlie Kirk and saw him get assassinated in front of his beautiful family's eyes, his poor children, growing up without a father, at the same time, the lunatics from the far left are going after Charlie Kirk and his family, calling him a voice of hate speech, of radicalization. He's never been that. I saw a tweet
he's like not
yesterday where they try to say, well, here's examples where he wasn't a voice of reason and empathy and respect. And he was literally calling out people who are violently going after.
Also, I gotta say this. One of the things that they keep bringing up about him is how he said something along the lines of like, it's acceptable if people die for the Second Amendment. Something like that, right? Like he's like, yeah, it's what was the quote exactly that they used? They did some bullshit, right? Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Anybody know the one that they bring up all the time? They clipped it from a bigger quote. Yeah, they did. But I'm trying to find the one that they said. Right. So the one that they said is along the lines of, actually, you know what? I'm just going to find it. I think it's important to get the actual quote for this one. And like, I need to address this because this is so bullshit. Charlie Kirk. Like, okay, I'm just going to show this one because this is fucking ridiculous, man. This is so stupid, right? So this is like, and like, I know that they're, okay, here. This is the shit that they keep posting. They're like, what do you mean? Even Charlie Kirk thought that shootings were okay as long as we had the two-way. And so like basically he's saying like, unfortunately, some gun deaths do occur every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment and protect our other God-given rights. That's a prudent deal. It is rational. So first off, I heard that this wasn't even this wasn't even the whole quote. Let me see. Somebody actually gave me the whole quote. Let me see if I can find it. Somebody sent it to me today. Who was it that sent that to me? Yes, exactly, Mythic. I was literally gonna say that. Is that even if you took them out of context, which they did, allegedly they took them out of context, even this is like okay. So like even the one that like they took out of context and they're like they're saying like this is the one where like he deserved it. Like this is so fucking stupid because obviously it makes sense, right? So okay. Let's break it down, okay? Unfortunately, some gun deaths do occur every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment. Obviously, because there are evil people, if you're a leftist and you're watching this, which you probably aren't, but follow me along, okay? Follow with me. If there are guns because of the Second Amendment, there are crazy people that will use guns to kill people. Duh. Right, obviously, right? And then it's like to have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. Yes, because you need the Second Amendment to protect the other rights. Because the other rights don't exist if you can't protect yourself. If you can't defend if you do not have self-defense, which you need to protect your life and protect your rights. Self-defense, 1. 2, the ability to rebel against a tyrannical government. If you don't have either, you only have rights because the government gave them to you. They're not God. They're given to you. You're basically at the mercy of the government. That's the whole point of the Second Amendment, right? Charlie Kirk now saying, this is a prudent deal. It's rational. Yes, it's rational because it makes sense. Because you have to be retarded to be like, in a world where we have guns, there are 0 deaths due to guns. Okay, so like what? Do we ban knives now? Because if you're allowed to have a knife, you're allowed to have a knife, and someone dies from a knife, obviously that's a possibility in a world where you have if you have cars, it's a possibility someone gets run over by a car maliciously. If you have a baseball bat, what are you gonna do? You're gonna cut your fucking arms off? Because you can choke someone with your hands? Or you gonna have no hands now? It's fucking retarded. It's retarded on that level, right? But there's another level. This is so like multi-tier retarded that like I can't even, like, how do you even think like this? Now with him saying it's worth it, right? If some gun deaths occur, it's worth it, right? Obviously there are cases where bad things happen, but they're necessary for the good thing to happen, right? So for instance, right? If you have a crime system where you arrest people and you put them into jail, should we not have a crime system? Because you might accidentally you're going to accidentally arrest people that are innocent. Innocent people are going to be found guilty because it's a crime system. Should we now throw away the crime system because of that? I'll do a better one for the leftists. So should we have not attacked the Reich? Should we have not went against Hitler? Should we have not done anything against Hitler or Japan? Because some civilians are going to die? Oh, but like a civilian might die. A civilian might die. You can't do that. Well, I think we should do it. I think it's worth it. Oh, so it's good when civilians die. No, you fucking retard. It's because the world isn't perfect. Just because the thing happens doesn't mean it's a good thing when it happens. Of course, you try to mitigate it from happening. You fucking shit for brains.
After him and his family. And he was defending them with words, by the way. So let me get this right. You're so offended by his speech that we're entitled to, via the Constitution, that you assassinate him, that you kill him. Why? Because he's so effective. That's why. The pendulum will swing. I'll keep you guys updated on this and more. I'm going to do a podcast likely tomorrow if we get any updates on the shooter. I just wanted to lay out a technical reacts for you.
Thanks, thank you so much for this. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Prayers for the Kirk family, his friends, and all those that witnessed.
Like, their gotchas are so.
Him losing
their gotchas are so fucking stupid. It's unreal. They're holy fuck, dude. Like, sometimes I feel like a fucking alien because I just don't understand people anymore. It's like. It feels like we're not even the same species. Like, we're incapable of communicating because, like, I just don't understand, like, how you could be that fucking stupid. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Life for his cause. It's a sad day in American history as I say this out loud on the anniversary of 9/11.
And the thing is, so many people have said that. This isn't like one or two people. I've seen this. How many of you guys have seen this on your feeds? On X or YouTube or whatever, just like some smug ass fucking leftist being like look what Charlie Kirk said, like he deserved it. Like, God, so fucking stupid. The fatal heart says it's just hatred, purposely twisting a man's word, mocking his death, slanders on heaven, dude. For real, man.
Set of circumstances, guys. I hope we find that shooter, and I hope the FBI wakes up.
And the thing is there are arguments you can make for having more gun control. You can have a good argument, a civil argument against it, but that's just so fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid, and it's basically saying like, "Oh, you got what you deserve because you died." It's so fucking, it's vile.
Reports and shows who the shooter is. You give the public 5 minutes, and we'll figure it out. Till next time. Thanks, guys.
You found the video, Leaf DMs. Okay, thank you. All right, we've got the video here from Shymoth, by the way. Shymoth, not a conservative, by the way, with the Charlie Kirk video here.
Clear.
So here we have Charlie Kirk. I think it's worth to have the cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment. It's a prudent deal. It's rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe, right? So, like, this is the actual thing that he said right here.
You need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, yes, by having more armed guards in front of schools.
Thanks, Momo. Thank you for the bits.
An honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death.
You can say that to literally everything. Literally everything. As long as evil exists, it will find a way. That's how evil is. Evil doesn't care about the rules that you set. It doesn't care about any of that. If evil can, it will. The only thing you can do is be ready for it.
That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
Literally, that's literally what I said.
That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
It is.
Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe.
Because it's not realistic. None of it is realistic. You can apply that to literally everything. Every single thing in life, you can apply that exact same thing to. Oh, we should tie up everybody's arms behind their backs because they might fucking kill somebody.
So we need to be very clear.
Yeah. And they fucking killed him, and they killed him, and they're like, ha, now you died. Now you died because because you said people should have guns, and you said it was a good deal. You know what? Good deal. That's literally what they did. It's actually fucking psycho. Okay, let's let me link you the video. This was the video over here by Mike G. Sorry, sometimes I get a little heated and I go a little clown mode because I'm so like my blood's boiling, you know? There's just so many freaking morons. There are plenty of like things that there are plenty of things you could criticize Charlie Kirk on. There are plenty of like ideas that he has that you can like say, well, maybe I have a better idea, right? But they're not doing that. They're just being stupid. Because everybody knows that that's stupid what they're saying. They will kill you and then you joke about it because they think it's funny. Yeah, exactly. Because they're fucking ghouls. Just nasty. Just nasty people, man. Like it's... I just want to get to a point where people on the right and people on the left, we just have a conversation about our issues. And that's how we solve things. None of this fucking fully evil mask off shit, you know? It's so tiring. Yeah. Literally, Anguish says the left doesn't like conversation. Yeah, they fucking killed him. Not happening in the current year. Yeah, I think so. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of, there's like, I don't know. I have faith. There's a lot of people on the right that are like, there's been like an outpouring. There's this outpouring of like people on the right that are like, yo, I'm gonna step up. I'm gonna step up, and I'm gonna do what Charlie did. And you know, maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope. I don't know. And there's a lot of people that are kind of distancing themselves from the crazy people on the left as well. So like maybe there's hope. I don't know. That's all I can hope for, dude. Breaking news: Panthers fire staffer over Charlie Kirk assassination post. The Carolina Panthers have fired communications staffer Charlie Rock after he posted an insensitive Instagram message mocking the tragic assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Rock used Kirk's photo with the caption, "Why are y'all sad? Your man said it was..." Why are y'all sad? Your man said it was worth it. Along with a Wu-Tang Clan lyric reference. God. The post sparked outrage and the Panthers quickly condemned it, stating, "The views expressed by our employees are their own and do not represent those of the Carolina Panthers. We do not condone this violence of any kind." Rock, who has been recently promoted to football communications coordinator, has since been terminated. You think firing him was the right move? Yeah, I don't think we should have people on either side basically celebrating people's deaths. And I know I say that we should have people on both sides that not celebrating like the deaths of people on the other side. But I mean, let's be real. It's mostly the psycho leftists. It's mostly like the far left woke leftists that are doing it. And it's like at this point, nobody likes them. Even Shoe on Head doesn't like them. I've seen a bunch of leftists don't like a bunch of people on the left don't like them either. Everybody hates them now. Like their time is almost over, basically. And it's time for the reckoning, and I mean the reckoning in like, you know, non-violent way, obviously. For all the retards, they're gonna say that I'm pushing for violence. I disavow all. Look how easy this is, guys. You will see how easy this is. Check this out, guys. Check this out. How fucking easy is this? I disavow all political violence. Whoa! Whoa, fucking impossible! Leftist impossible right there. God. And I just gotta say it again, guys. None of the cities are on fire today. Any cities on fire? Any cities on fire, guys? Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. Zero cities on fire? But I thought it was impossible. I thought you gotta let the rage out. You gotta let the rage out or it's gonna be worse for society. What happened to that? Where's the rage at?